Brothers, good afternoon. I hope that you are all enjoying your experience here in Roanoke. I got to tell you, I've had the opportunity to travel across the country and see how other national organizations conduct their leadership conclaves. And I must say that Sigma Nu, by far and away, is one of the best organizations in the country, and the experience that you're getting here is truly tremendous. And so I just wanted to shout out and tip my hat to the entire leadership team here at Sigma Nu. Christopher Brenton in the back, who does an amazing job. From Brad Beecham all the way down, the staff team here is what makes it all possible, and it's truly an amazing experience. So here's the deal. Every man in this room sits at a turning point, not just for your chapter, but for the future of fraternity life nationwide. What you do on your campus and the decisions that you make every single day carries weight far beyond what you see day to day. Over the next few minutes, I want to share a few ideas that you should take seriously, perspective from my work nationally with the NIC that will help you lead stronger chapters and more fully live out what it means to be a member of the Legion of Honor. But first, the fun part, a bit about me. As mentioned, I'm an initiate of the Zeta Upsilon chapter at Arizona State University. This is my chapter home. It might not be as grand or as big and beautiful as some of your chapter homes, but it was my home for 2.5 years, and it is within what ASU calls the Greek Leadership Village, a new model for fraternity and sorority life on campus. I had the opportunity to recharter my chapter, which meant building it from the ground up back in 2017. That is me in the middle at my pinning ceremony, looking a bit frightened. But because rechartering is not an easy task, but it's also not much different from the task in front of all of you this year. You are building a team, a strategy from the ground up. My experience taught me just about everything there is to know about fraternity operations. I started out as the low-level t-shirt chairman for my chapter, and then on to philanthropy chairman and house manager, and ultimately joining the High Council in 2021 as a collegian, among many other leadership roles on campus, campus ambassadors, IFC, student government. But one of the most important lessons that I learned behind the scenes was to build trust with the commander. So think about that as you build trust with others from your chapter and as they build trust with you. But also a key person in your world is the chapter advisor. That is where real progress is made. So when you partner with your chapter advisor, you can be a much more effective leader. I just wanted to put that out there. So take a moment to text your chapter advisor, give them an update about what's happening here at College of Chapters, give them a call, wish them a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if you didn't. And trust me, when the hard decisions come, and they will, having people aligned with you makes all the difference. So I'm excited to be here today to speak with you about the year ahead. First, I wanted to share a few basic best practices from my personal experience leading at ASU and leading the Rock chapter. Okay, first, producing a newsletter. Send it to everyone, alumni, parents, sororities, administrators, headquarters staff. Communicating your needs and your successes will make your chapter stronger. Second, build out some sort of shared management software. I recommend using Google Drive to manage all your chapter's operations. Organization is key. Who has some sort of shared management software that you all use? Excellent. Excellent. If you don't, it's a good job to get your recorder on ASAP. Start an alumni chapter. Here was our recent 70th anniversary reunion. We had 400 alumni come out for that, and those relationships were all refostered over the course of the last 8 years since we rechartered. When you get alumni involved, you build a support network, you help your members find jobs, you raise money for projects, and the list goes on and on and on of benefits. And on that note, conduct the affirmation of knighthood ceremony. Who knows what the affirmation of knighthood ceremony is? Okay, maybe 40% of you. If you don't know where it is, it's in your rituals, near the back of your rituals, and I was just talking with the Auburn guys last night about it. You guys should absolutely implement this with your graduating senior ceremony that you hopefully do at the end of every year. Second, or fourth, form a meaningful partnership with a charity. This is us with Child Help, and through my Sigma Nu experience, I got to know the leaders of that organization, and they gave me the opportunity to now serve on their national board. So you never know where those opportunities will lead. Host community leaders at your chapters to showcase the value of what you are all creating to build those much-needed relationships with administrators. Dominate in PR. Promote your successes and empower others with the information. Instagram, LinkedIn, press releases, a chapter website, right? And then lastly, create initiatives outside of just your chapter walls. Something fun that I did was start the Vintage Sigma Nu page, which I'm sure many of you follow and interact with and hopefully enjoy. Okay, as we get going, I want to pose a few questions to us as a group. First, how have you mastered the art of fraternity? How have you mastered the art of fraternity? To master anything, you first have to immerse yourself completely in it. And that begins with extreme ownership of your chapter. Another way of asking this question is, what do you really know about Sigma Nu? Because I will tell you this plainly, the first key to success in Sigma Nu is knowing your stuff. Knowledge gives you leverage. Every leadership situation you face, whether it's with your chapter, on your campus, with your administration, it comes down to leverage. And the more that you know about Sigma Nu and the campus policies, the more effectively you can govern in the right direction. So if I could offer a few concrete ways to master Sigma Nu. First, absorb everything you can about our fraternity. Learn our history. You're going to have a chance to visit our headquarters and you'll see the library. Study and personally follow the creed. This boils down to leading by example. Read our ritual because you need to practice what you preach, especially as you lead your entire chapter, right? And then ask a ton of questions. One of my mentors taught me a long time ago that leaders are inquisitive, especially to the brother who served in your position priorly, right? Your predecessor, and to the alumni, and to your consultant at headquarters, and the headquarters staff, and most importantly, to your chapter advisor. I'm 27 years old, and I still call my chapter advisor to ask questions about our fraternity. Understand your chapter operations because knowledge is power, and you're running the show. Because you are in a leadership role, and this is your responsibility as the tip of the spear representing your chapter. You've heard this before, but what you learn now will benefit you for the rest of your life, not just during your term. So use this as the premier opportunity in college to master the leadership skills that matter more than anything else in the workplace after college. Here's my next question to you. How are you being an ambassador for the fraternity experience? If it's not obvious yet, there are folks out there who do not understand our experience and who are actively working to undermine it. Perhaps you've seen it, the Abolish Greek Life movement and other efforts, whether in the media or university administrators, to dismantle what we do. And I'm not here to debate why that exists, but I am here to tell you ways of how to counter it. And it starts first and foremost with self-governance and accountability, which you spearhead as leaders of your chapter. Holding brothers accountable, running honor boards, choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, which you heard so much about last night. Ensuring that what happens in your house is honorable, even when it's unpopular or different from other chapters on campus. And then, once you have that down, you can be a positive ambassador everywhere you go. At the store, at the gym, with your parents, with your grandparents, and most definitely with the people on your campus. Because there is no shame in belonging to an organization whose mission is to develop ethical leaders, and to an organization that consistently produces the top leaders that form society. So, free poll, show of hands. Whose life here has improved as a result of their fraternity experience? Take a look around. Exactly. So something is working. And the central question that I have to answer every day at my job at the NIC is, who are the best and brightest fraternity men in the country, and how are they standing up for fraternities? And honestly, the answer to that question is you all. And so I'm here to empower you with the data to use as you go out there and sell our experience. A few years ago, the NIC partnered with Gallup and other major polling institutions to study the real tangible outcomes of fraternity membership. Why does this matter? Well, because your stories are powerful, but when you pair it with data, it changes minds. Here's what the research shows. Fraternity men, lower levels of depression, lower levels of anxiety, lower levels of suicidal ideation. Fraternity men, more likely to hold a leadership position on their campus. Higher GPAs, more likely to graduate on time. Fraternity men report stronger career outcomes. The list literally goes on and on and on. But here's the key. You all need to know this. You need to memorize it. You need to use it. You can find it on the NIC's website. You could just simply Google NIC fraternity research, and this is the key. Share it with everyone that you know. Because when someone challenges the value of fraternity, you shouldn't hesitate. You should respond with confidence, and that is your job as ambassadors of the fraternity experience. Okay, let's actually talk about what I do. I think that's why I'm here. So for those who are not aware, the North American Interfraternity Conference is the collegiate men's fraternity that represents over 60 men's fraternities in North America. The NIC exists to protect and strengthen fraternities through advocacy, insights, and standards. Our role is to advocate for fair treatment of fraternity men with universities, legislators, and the public. We provide data and insights that prove fraternities improve student success and well-being. You just saw that with all the research and the data. And we set education and conduct standards so strong chapters like Sigma Nu can continue to thrive without unnecessary and even harmful barriers. My role as Director of Advocacy is to oversee our government relations strategy. What this simply means is to work with our alumni and students in key influential roles federally and at the state level to ensure that fraternities are represented and to pass policies that support the positive advancement of all fraternities. Relevant to you, we organize this in a handful of different ways for students. Whether it's through our brand new First Amendment Institute, where we bring about 75 fraternity and sorority leaders to a weekend retreat in Chicago to hear from constitutional scholars and others on the rights of single-sex organizations and specifically how fraternity men can organize and advocate at the campus level. Or our annual Hill Visits program, where we bring the nation's top fraternity leaders together to advocate for the fraternity experience on Capitol Hill. In recent years, the fraternity community has been primarily focused on our First Amendment right to freedom of association. Sigma Nu has historically sent 4 students, usually student body presidents, and multiple alumni on these visits. And this is actually a photo that I took last year of a group of Sigma Nus talking with Congressman Aaron Bean from Florida, who is an initiate of the Jacksonville University. Representative Bean is just one of hundreds of members of Congress who are proud alumni of a fraternity or sorority. Here is a list of every single current member of Congress who is a member of a fraternity or sorority, with Sigma Nus highlighted in white. You know, through my role, I've learned that one of the reasons that alumni are so proud to be members is because they credit their fraternity experience as a defining element that led not just to their political success, but their personal success. What we have found is that the most successful fraternity alumni did a few things. First, they served as president of their chapter. So you guys are already on the right track. But also, that they served in student government. If you looked up the biographies of the members of Congress who are on this screen, you would be amazed at the quantity of them that served in student government, whether it's senator or director or student body president. Once leaders master the art of fraternity, like you are all doing in your chapter, and also master the art of human relations on campus, they often move on to serve in public office. So quick activity, raise your hand if you're from the following chapters: Jacksonville University, Northwestern University, Washington and Lee, Montana State, and University of Mississippi, Ole Miss. Your chapters are highlighted in white. I recommend reaching out to these congressmen and these senators, calling their offices and inviting them to be your next lead speaker. This is a perfect way that Sigma News can engage our elected leaders. And if every chapter in the country did this, we'd be in a very good spot. On that note, you will not be surprised to learn that 19 US presidents were fraternity alumni. And if you rewind these presidents' lives to their college days, what do you think you would find? Well, you'd find that this is them. Student body presidents leading their student bodies and advocating for Greek life and putting the leadership principles that they learned in their chapters to the test. These are the current Sigma Nu brothers serving as student body president on their campus this year. So my job at the NIC is to track and engage and communicate with the hundreds of Greek student body presidents across America and engage with them to ensure that they are defending the fraternity experience as well as considering a future in public office. This is part of our government relations strategy, and it's also where you come in. In January of 2024, actually in this room on this stage, I announced the Engage Initiative. This is the first of its kind interfraternal leadership program designed to empower and equip you as your chapter's leaders to be advocates on the ground at your campuses to advocate for the institution of fraternity. Because if you don't have members of the Greek community at your schools actively supporting the cause, you're going to wind up on the menu. So through Engage, which is an initiative that I lead, we are consulting with student leaders like you to grow the amount of student government leaders that you have representing Greek life on your campus, and to hopefully propel you and your members into leadership roles, not just on campus, but also in your communities, and ultimately at the state and federal level. So in other words, reach out to us if you're interested in a career in public policy. If you want to land that internship in DC, I highly recommend it. There are tons of fellow members of Greek communities from college campuses across the United States that swarm to Capitol Hill every single year for these congressional internships, for the White House internship, and it's truly one of the best leadership opportunities you can get. But probably most importantly, what we do, this is something you should directly take back to your chapters, is that we are now funding Greek-led student government campaigns. So you have no excuse. Think of a brother who shows promise. I want you to think of him right now. Who's the guy who's got the leadership potential? And use your authority as commander to encourage him to run for student body president, and even consider running yourself. You've already got the leadership experience running your chapter. Why can't you do it for the student body? And you'd be shocked at how easy it is. The benefit to your chapter alone, as a result, is primarily why you should do it as well. So brothers, I thank you. I want to also mention that I just actually joined Christopher Brenton on the Gavel podcast, and if you want to learn more about what I do at the NIC, please listen to that. There's a ton of other great podcasts through the Gavel podcast where you can learn from leaders of our great fraternity. I am happy to answer questions afterwards. I'm going to throw my contact information on the screen. But brothers, I just encourage you to seek out additional leadership roles on campus. It's so important. Certainly make it a key priority for your chapters to be known as a leadership fraternity, not just a social fraternity, but a leadership fraternity who requires its members to be leaders on campus and in your communities. If there's ever any way that I can help any of your members, I want you to take a photo of my contact information. You can call me, you could text me, it could be the middle of the night. I want to help Sigma Nu. I want to help our great Greek institutions across the United States. So thank you, brothers. I'll be around for the rest of the College of Chapters, and I look forward to chatting with you. Thank you so much.